Dorsey is a retired Los Angeles police sergeant, author of Black and Blue, and she's with us this late hour in Los Angeles. Thank you so much for joining us, Cheryl. Now, clearly it seems that 11 p.m. curfew in New York didn't work. It didn't stop the looting, it didn't stop the vandalism. The plan for Tuesday is an 8 p.m. curfew. Will that really make a difference when you consider the vandalism and the looting began, I think, 7:30 p.m. on Monday?
I don't think the hour is going to have much of an impact, and I'm not even sure. I'm hearing on my social media platforms that folks want the other 3 officers arrested. I don't think even that is going to calm folks down. This has been a long time coming. Nothing much changed after the 1992 riots, 2014 riots in Ferguson. And so unless and until police departments start holding police officers accountable, we're going to continue to see, I'm afraid, these kinds of outbursts.
You mentioned the fact that the other 3 arresting officers have not been arrested at this point. I want you to listen to Minnesota's Attorney General, who's now overseeing their case. He spoke to CNN a few hours ago.
I want to assure everybody that we are looking very carefully at holding everybody accountable who failed to do their duty and fell below the legal requirements of their position or did something affirmatively that would be in violation of the law.
Okay, so action seems pending. He won't say exactly what, but if the roles were reversed here, a black man had his knee on the neck of a white police officer who was killed while 3 of the black man's colleagues did nothing to stop it, would they be in jail by now?
You already know, absolutely. And listen, I understand this is precarious and they're only going to get one bite at the apple in terms of prosecution, so they want to have their ducks in a row. I get that. Procedurally, if they don't have everything in order, they could have to release the 3 officers and then start all over, and that in and of itself would be problematic. But listen, when we hear accountability, what does that mean? Because true accountability is way down the road. We first have to get charges. Then there's going to have to be a trial, and ultimately a conviction would be hoped for, and then what does a sentence like? So accountability, if it's a real thing, is not going to happen for many, many months. I pray that these protests don't continue until we get a sentence in the case of the death, the murder of George Floyd.
The other extreme that we're seeing here, apart from with the vandalism and the looting, has been the actions of law enforcement in Washington. You had peaceful protesters who were set upon with tear gas, flashbangs, that kind of stuff. Essentially, they were cleared out of the way for a photo opportunity for the president. Is that actually legal? Aren't there guidelines or policy for the use of non-lethal crowd control measures? And what's the onus on the individual law officers not to follow that kind of directive?
Well, listen, when you have a president who's soulless, who has no moral compass and is incapable of empathy and compassion for others, who's all about himself, while it may be lawless, haven't we seen him for pretty much 4 years break laws and do things that are contrary to our democracy and what's right, just on a human level? And so how do you tell a president no when you have a 12-year-old who sits in the White House?
Well, lastly, I want you to listen to the brother of George Floyd, Terrence, who actually called for peaceful protests and no more violence. Here he is.
In every case of police brutality, the same thing has been happening. Y'all protest, y'all destroy stuff, and if they don't move, let's switch it up. Yes. Amen. Do this peacefully. Please, I know he would not want y'all to be doing this.
It does seem to be a stark contrast. You have the family of the victims calling for peaceful protests, while the president seems to be trying to escalate the confrontations.
And so while, protests have their role in all of this, at the end of the day, these young people need to have an end game. And the end game is going to be going to the ballot box. Every police chief serves at the pleasure of a mayor. Politicians understand votes. And so if you want true change, then you're going to have to not only, once you bring attention to a matter, you're going to have to actively get involved and engage to bring about that change.
Cheryl Dorsey, it's been a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.